So Dario, how are you?
Very fine. I'm a little bit tired because I had very 3 days really demanding because I was in Berlin 2 days ago, and yesterday I was in Italy, in Milan,
Mhm.
to because I was a guest in X Factor Italy,
Okay.
and I had these two very demanding performances, and I played two pieces of my new album, Petali and Space Samurai. So, and I slept just 3 hours, and I'm here in Amsterdam. So,
Well, thank you for taking the time then.
no, it's a pleasure. Absolutely.
So before we get into the new music, then I'd like to jump back kind of to where it all started. Do you remember what started this passion for you of
Yes,
making?
yes. I think that when I was 8 years old, I was at school, and I I had this. I found out this. I had this newspaper, music magazine. I remember, and I came across with this picture of Ziggy Stardust of David Bowie, and I don't know what happened to me. I was totally shocked and traumatized by his image, and I began to discover his character and his music, and I fell in love with David Bowie. And I was like a sort of an alien because I was just 8 years old,
Mm,
um, and I really was became a fan of him, loving all his album, Berlinese trilogies, and it was really strange because I was a child. So, and yes, it was my imprinting in music. I can say it, and I became to study classical piano when I was 8, and so I that's it.
the what I hear about classical piano, it can be very strict. So did you enjoy it that you had to play all those classics or
I don't know. At a certain point, when you have to spend 6 hours in a day studying repertoire, classical repertoire, when your friends are out playing football and having a good time, and you are at home studying, it could be very, very hard. But I really was in love with Chopin, Schubert.
okay?
There are some composers that I really loved. Others not. For example, Bach was not my favorite one. I
I've
really
been
hate study Bach pieces.
okay. I've been listening to a little bit of Liszt recently, and his playing is just out of this world, I think.
Yeah, what Liszt?
Yes.
Liszt is one of my favorite one. There
Okay.
is this piece, Giochi d'acqua, Villa d'Este. I'm talking in Italian. Is on my favorite
Okay.
pieces, and I'm studying it in this at this moment.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna look that one up because I've really a new world is opening with his playing. Um, but so was your outlook always very eclectic then? Always kind of trying to incorporate different elements, and then obviously you do once you started putting out music. But was that always the outlook to be as broad as possible?
Uh, I don't know. Yes, there are a lot of influences. Is my album. I don't know because I divided this album into different hemispheres because I have this degree in psychology,
Okay.
even it's not my main job. It's not my job. I'm not a psychologist just because I have a degree, but it's not my work. So I'm really fascinating about the functions that the two hemispheres solve. So I call the right hemisphere the poet because it's linked to our emotions, and so it's pure and is really strict to our heart, and so the piano part is linked to the right hemisphere, and the left hemisphere is about rationality, and I call it the architect, the engineer. So,
Mm.
and I linked it to the electronic part. So in the electronic parts, there are a lot of influence, as you were saying. I don't know. It's a very I was totally free to explore my vision. So I put in this part new jazz, electronic came from the 90s, from the noughties. I don't know, a lot of stuff that I really love.
What made you want to create a clear distinction between kind of the left and the right, the duality between organic, electronic? What made you want to separate those two?
Why, you mean? Why I decided to do this? Because in the previous albums, I always trying to merge the electronic side with the piano side, and and I have been doing this for 3 albums, and on different places, because I recorded the first album in Berlin, the second one in Reykjavik in Iceland, the third one in Edinburgh. And so every time I was portray different concept and symbols on the writing these albums. And for this one, I wanted to do something different. So this is the first time that these two parts are not merged, and they are totally independent. And I think that if you put sometimes if you put limits in your creativity, you can discover a lot, and you can have achieve and discover new colors. So that's what happened to my album.
I know you are interested in Japan and kind of Eastern philosophy, I suppose. Then, so was that an influence? Because I've read a little bit of Zen Buddhism and all that kind of stuff, and they talk a lot about emptiness and nothingness versus kind of somethingness and something form and shape. So is that where the duality idea also kind of comes from?
I think that the Japanese word is not linked to this duality, but it's about some concept that I was thinking about when I was writing the piano pieces. There is the concept of Kintsugi that was fundamental for me, because it's about this technique that repair pieces of broken ceramic vessels, and you feel with golden oil or silver oil the scars of the wounds of this ceramic. And it's on a symbolic level, it's absolutely important, because you can build your personality after a very tough period, after you've been traumatized by an event. And so what's happened to me, because every album that I wrote, it's about, I thought they are about a rebirth after a very bad moment. So for Stromae and Drugs, my previous album, I was written it after the earthquake. Our country and my house was totally damaged and collapsed. And so I was writing the album after this very, very bad moment. And this duality was born after my father's death. So it was a very delicate moment. So every person has a lot of wounds and scars. We don't have to hide them, but we have to show them with new light. So that's the concept behind this album.
Does it how should I ask this? Is making music and performing it, is it very therapeutic for you then? Because I can imagine, especially by losing a parent, is a very difficult thing in someone's life. So did creating music and kind of throwing your mind into the music, did that help?
Absolutely, yes, because you can put on a symbolic level your grief, and you can restore it. You can rebuild your identity, right? I think that resilience is the right concept, right? And yes, it could be absolutely therapeutic, because you could build a new identity. You could be a better version of yourself if you can get through these bad moments. Okay, yeah.
Is there maybe one song or maybe even a couple that really kind of I don't know if "remind you" is the right word, but that kind of makes you think of your father or something, or that was inspired by him?
Yeah, there is just one track, but
Okay.
the atmosphere after this event was this event. I'm sure that uh, mm, was in the backdrop of my creativity
Right,
session,
right.
But there is a track that is called "Dono per un addio," which it means it's a sort of um, gifts for a farewell, something like this, keepsake, I don't know. And so was written about this. It's my gift for
Mm.
him. But like I told you, this event was in the backdrop. Yeah.
So it was kind of an overall feeling of making this
Yeah.
album.
Yeah.
Was it because of the strange couple of years that we've had? Did you have a kind of more time than before to work on it, or what was your mentality working on these songs? Which you did make 20 songs, you know.
Yes, it's a lot of things. It's a lot of songs. It's my most complicated album because the last one, Storm and Drugs, was just about 7 tracks. So 20 tracks is a lot. But I have to tell you, the piano part was really easy, just
Okay.
in a week, because as I told you, it was linked to my right hemisphere. It was really easy because I worked with an Italo-Japanese producer called Taketo Guara. And so in a week, I wrote these 10 themes.
Mm.
And when I began to complicate things with arpeggios, contrappunto, different chords, he told me, no, this is your right hemisphere. It's pure. Don't complicate things. Let's do this. This track was born in this way and has to remain in this way. So it was really easy, just 1 week. And I recorded the tracks and the track of piano solo, I have to tell you, they are really full of little mistakes, imperfections, because they were just born. So, and I told to Taketo, and I told him, I have studied the track now. Can we come back in studio and recorded them? And yeah, we come back in studio and we recorded them. And he told me, no. They are, you know them better now, but there's no emotion anymore. Let's keep the piano pieces with these bounds and imperfections because they are really beautiful for this. And the electronic part, yes, it was really complicated. 1 year of work. Yeah.
Okay. Especially with electronic side, then there's always new technology coming in, and there's new possibilities. So, what were you looking for these this set of songs, these 10 songs? Was there something that kind of influenced the sound of it?
I think I don't understand the question.
But usually when like electronics, there's always development, right? So there's new technology, new synths, new sounds, new plugins, whatever. So whenever you work on something like electronically, um, do you before I think I'm looking for this sound or I'm looking for this kind of texture, or is it just open?
I'm totally open, I have to
Okay.
tell you, and there are different approaches in the electronic side because I worked on with digital instrument, analog instrument, sampling. I think that the binaural audio, Dolby Atmos, would be a great resource for us because, yes, I have to tell you the truth. This Dolby Atmos version of Duality, it's a sort of came later after the creative process. So, but next time, if we have these possibilities with Dolby Atmos, we could begin to create from the first time in a totally new way. For this album, as I told you, I used different approaches. I didn't have a creative map. I was totally free. Absolutely.
when it comes to performing live, then you've performed live quite a bit all over the world, and I saw a performance with Stromae that you did. What is your approach to playing live? Because especially when you start to play Duality live, there is a big difference from the more emotional piano side to the electronic side. So how do you kind of create a live show to kind of show all of what you do?
Yeah. The first act of the next new Duality tour will be simple on a music level because it's just piano solo.
Okay.
But it won't be a traditional piano solo act because there will be a lot of scenographic elements on a traditional level and on a contemporary level. So I'm talking about theatrical elements, but I'm talking about LED walls and projections. And so it will be a sort of a theatrical contemporary show with a piano solo. And the second act will be totally different because it became a sort of rave. It's something very strong on an electronic side. And the setup of the electronic part, I have to settle out everything. I have to understand what I want to bring out stage. I build this, how can I say? It's a sort of multi-effects connected with 4 or 5 synthesizers. So I'm building this new system that I would like to bring on stage.
Right.
Effects and synthesizer. Yes, I'm building with my team in Italy, in Milan.
Okay. So that you still have to figure out how to kind of translate what you want to the stage.
No, it will be very difficult because it's very difficult to play live this album.
Yeah, I can imagine.
But I want it it has to be very organic and real. Organic, not because we are talking about synthesizer, but it has to be really not MIDI stuff. I want to play every part. But
then you need to multitask all over the place.
Yeah.
Well, very quickly, what was it like being on stage with Stromae? To kind of, because I saw the performance, it was really electric and a lot of energy. So what was that like?
Yeah, it was amazing because we are talking about Night of Taranta, which is this traditional night with pizzica, who is this music style that came from the tradition of Salento. So it's something really, really old. But my goal, because they call me every year, they call maestro that has to play. Is not just a conductor, sorry. So I was playing on stage, and my goal was to renovate the sound of pizzica, the traditional sound of pizzica. And Stromae was totally involved in this. He was really happy to do this song because we chose Alors on Dance and we mixed and mashed up it with a traditional song, a traditional pizzica song from Salento. He was really, I don't know, really humble, really, really affable. I don't know.
Yeah.
We had a very good time. I think that he enjoyed the song on stage.
But what do you think? Because this might be a strange question, but I've been talking to Italian musicians a little bit more in the past couple of months or maybe a year. So how do you feel about kind of the Italian music scene? How do you perceive it? And then yeah, because I've talked to maybe 3-4 Italian bands in the past couple of months.
Yeah, which band?
Joycut was one. He's very interesting type of music that he makes. Yeah. I had Destrich, Destrage, a kind of metalcore band, something, but they worked with Devin Townsend and stuff. So there's really interesting and also very eclectic music coming out of Italy. So how do you perceive the Italian music scene?
The Italian music scene is totally driven by urban music, rapper, trappers, and the pop scene is totally contaminated by urban metrics and production. So And it's all about this. The mainstream, it's all about this. The traditional Italian songwriting is contaminated with new sounds, but it's not the first thing I'm talking about streaming.
Sure.
So if we talk about electronics and we talk about niche and very small genres, I think that Italian audience, the Italian target, is not so curious and ready to open up to these new experimentations.
Okay.
And if I compare it to other countries like France, like new UK, I don't know, I think that it's a little bit different. So I hope that sometime will change. But it's one of the first reasons because I want to move from Italy, because I've done a lot of hits in Italy like a producer. I had a lot of platinum, number
Sure.
one in radio, but I think that I don't know, I'm a little bit exhausted by this. It was a really beautiful period because the producers in Italy has become really successful and like stars, you know. And so I had a very beautiful period, but I think that I have to close. I have to break with this kind of word of doing an hit one after the other at this
Sure.
pressure of being number one. Yes, I want to explore something else because I have this project that was born about 10 years ago and is going well. Let's see what happened, bro.
Yeah, for you personally, you want to evolve as an artist, I think so. So not doing the same thing.
Yeah, I can do the producer for the artists that I love most, for the artists that are more brave. I don't know, how can I say?
Yeah.
They want to explore something new. And there are artists like this, like Madame, like Mahmood, I don't know. So
Final question then. When for you, with kind of what you mentioned just now, when will Duality be a success for you? Because you talked about the mainstream, we have kind of more niche types of music. When for you will Duality be a success? Do you think about the kind of the numbers on the screen on Spotify streams, that kind of stuff? What are you looking for? What makes your music become a success for you?
when people come to my show, I don't really care about numbers.
Okay.
If I have a venue of 400 people and it's full, I'm okay. I'm really happy for this. In Italy, it's going well. I'm talking about, but I'm Italian, so
Sure.
part is abroad. So let's see what happens. But the work has begun today because today is the day of release. There is a lot to do, and so let's see what happens. But I think that live performances and touring is and be on stage and perform and to expose your visions to an audience is the most exciting thing to do. That's what I want to do in my life. Yeah.
You mentioned looking at different countries and maybe wanting to leave Italy. Is there a market, or is there somewhere you're looking at where your music might fit well, or do you have kind of an idea? Maybe you want to go to the UK, maybe you want to go to the United States. Where is your mind at now?
Are you talking about what? Sorry, I don't understand
But
the question.
you mentioned earlier that you kind of you want to evolve as a musician. So
Yeah.
in terms of the you want to get out of the Italian music scene and see what other areas you can explore.
I don't know. I really don't know.
Fair enough.
I don't know. I really like the Berlinese music scene.
Okay.
I really like the UK scene, but I have to find a city or where I can feel comfortable. It's not easy at all, I have to say.
Sure.
So I have to explore a lot because the place where I like to live is Fuerteventura or I don't know, but there's no music over there, so I have to choose a place where I can work, where I can find new colors in music and to collaborate with other musicians, right? I will tell you in a year
Fair. Well, thank you, Dario, for taking the time to talk with me. You're in Amsterdam now, so maybe walk around. Maybe Amsterdam is a nice city for you.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, have a good one, man. Thank you for taking the time to
Thank
talk
you.
with me.
Thank you very much.